If you are listening to this on your commute right now, or maybe you're just doing chores around the house, take a second to look at your immediate surroundings.
Yeah, just take it all in.
Right, like look at the traffic you're sitting in, or think about the mood of your boss waiting for you at the office, or just consider the general state of your life right now. What if none of that is actually happening to you?
Oh, that's a heavy question.
It is. What if every single bit of it is flowing from you? Because we usually think about changing our lives as this very mechanical, physical equation. You know, you put in hard work, you save every penny, you communicate clearly, and then very slowly the outside world shifts to reward you.
Yeah, it's a very binary, tangible way of looking at the universe.
Exactly.
And we crave that tangibility, right? Humans are just wired to seek visible physical cause and effect. It makes us feel safe because the rules are out there in the open where we can physically interact with them.
But then you step into the material we are unpacking today, and that safe mechanical equation gets flipped entirely upside down. We are exploring a framework where reality is almost uncomfortably internal.
Uncomfortably is definitely the right word for it.
Yeah. So today we're taking a deep dive into the core teachings of a 1944 metaphysical text called Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard.
A classic.
Right? And our mission today is to decode his radical premise that your feelings literally dictate reality, and to break down the specific nighttime routine he designed to reprogram the subconscious mind. We've pulled from Goddard's original text, contemporary analyses, and, communities of modern practitioners.
And to really grasp what Goddard is arguing here, we have to establish his philosophical baseline right away, because he pulls no punches.
No, he really doesn't.
Right, like he is not offering a self-help platitude about positive thinking. He isn't just saying, well, a good attitude will simply influence your day. His absolute premise is that your consciousness is the world.
Let me stop and make sure we're defining that correctly. He's claiming that the fundamental foundational concept of reality is that the outer world is basically an illusion, that it is merely reflecting our inner states.
Yes. Think of it like a virtual reality simulation. But the simulation is being rendered in real time by your own mind.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Everything you see, every person you encounter, every situation you find yourself in is just your own consciousness pushed out into physical space. In this framework, you never actually acquire what you want. You only ever experience what you are.
That reframes the entire human experience. I mean, there is an analogy in the sources that I think captures this perfectly. It's treating the physical 3D world exactly like a mirror.
Oh, I love the mirror analogy.
Right. Like if you look in a bathroom mirror and you don't like the unhappy expression on your reflection's face, you wouldn't, grab a paintbrush and try to paint a smile onto the glass.
No, that would be an exercise in complete futility. You can paint the glass all day, but the underlying reflection remains completely untouched. The reflection just cannot change independently of the source.
You have to change your own face. You have to look inward. So if the outer world is just this delayed reflection of our internal unexamined assumptions, then trying to force your life to change through sheer physical hustle, like working 80 hours a week while feeling completely inadequate inside, is literally just painting the mirror.
Exactly. And this is where we have to look at the mechanics of the mind to understand how that projection actually happens.
Right, the how.
Goddard breaks consciousness into two deeply intertwined components, right? The conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And they have very distinct, specialized roles in rendering this reality.
The sources offer a pretty simple visualization for this. They compare it to a gardener and the soil.
Yes, the seed analogy.
Right. So the conscious mind is the gardener. It is personal, it has free will, and it basically selects the specific seeds to plant. The subconscious mind is the soil, and the soil is entirely impersonal. It does not care if you plant a beautiful rose or a highly toxic weed.
Yet has absolutely no preference.
Exactly. The soil has no moral compass, no judgment. It simply takes whatever seed the gardener drops into it and faithfully grows it.
And to look at the operational mechanism behind that, there's another profound analogy from the text, which is the captain and the ship.
Oh, yeah, this one is great.
Right. So the conscious mind is the captain standing high up on the bridge. The captain looks out at the horizon, consults the maps, makes personal choices, and determines the destination. But the subconscious mind is the engine room deep down in the belly of the ship.
And the crew in the engine room doesn't have windows. I mean, they can't even see the ocean or where the ship is heading.
That is the crucial mechanical difference. The engine room is blind. It doesn't argue with the captain over the destination. It doesn't check the weather radar to see if a massive storm is ahead.
It just does the work.
Exactly. It simply receives the captain's orders and flawlessly executes them, churning the propellers to build those orders into a physical reality.
Yeah.
It takes the subjective command and makes it an objective fact.
Wait, let me make sure I'm grasping the practical reality of this mechanism. Let's say two different people experience the exact same external crisis. They both walk into the office on a Tuesday, and out of nowhere, they lose their jobs.
Right. A deeply destabilizing event. It triggers a massive psychological response.
Naturally. Now, person A's immediate response is sheer panic. They go home, look at their bank account, and feel a profound sense of desperation. They feel entirely unemployed and inadequate.
Yeah.
In our analogy, they're standing on the bridge of the ship screaming, "We are sinking!" Or they are aggressively planting seeds of toxic weeds in the soil. So how does the engine room interpret that?
Well, the engine room, the subconscious, doesn't step back and say, oh, the captain is just stressed out, let's ignore that order. It takes that feeling of profound lack and says, understood.
Yeah.
The destination is lack, rerouting reality to provide more circumstances that generate desperation.
Wow.
Yeah, it literally locks down the physical world to match the internal command, resulting in, months of closed doors, failed interviews, and just continuous struggle.
But how do you logically stop yourself from panicking when the threat is real? Like, if my 3D reality is showing me an empty bank account and an eviction notice, I am reacting to facts.
And that is where person B comes in. Person B experiences the exact same initial shock, but they refuse to let their internal state terminally match the external crisis.
They pivot.
Exactly. They consciously pivot. They decide to feel secure in their intrinsic value. They feel that this job loss is merely making room for a massive step up. They plant roses.
So they change the order.
Right.
Yeah.
The engine room receives the command of security and opportunity and begins rendering that into the 3D world. Suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, a random conversation at a coffee shop leads to a better job offer.
But how is person B actually communicating that to the engine room? Because engine room doesn't speak English. It doesn't, read a resume. The sources make it clear that the subconscious only understands one language.
Yes, the secret language of the subconscious mind is feeling. And that brings us to the core of Goddard's entire philosophy.
I have to stop you there because this is where things get really messy for a lot of people, myself definitely included.
Oh, for sure.
If my bank account is literally overdrawn by $30, telling myself I am a millionaire feels entirely delusional. It feels like I'm just lying to myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, it feels like toxic positivity. How am I supposed to genuinely feel wealthy when the math proves I am broke?
It is a totally fair criticism, and honestly, it's the single biggest roadblock people hit when they try to apply this. But we really have to clarify what Goddard means by the word feeling.
Okay.
He is not talking about forcing a fleeting euphoric emotion. He isn't suggesting you jump up and down with manufactured excitement or, paste a fake smile on your face while your stomach is tied in knots.
But how is it not faking it? My conscious brain is incredibly smart, and it knows I am broke.
Because Goddard separates emotion from conviction.
Oh, interesting.
Emotion is volatile, right? It's reactive. Conviction is the deep, quiet knowing. If you actually had $1 million sitting in your bank account right now, you wouldn't be walking through the grocery store screaming with joy.
I mean, maybe the first day, but yeah, not every day.
Right. You would just feel a quiet, heavy sense of relief. You would feel secure. It's the feeling of naturalness.
The sources refer to this as the feeling of the Sabbath, a state of complete rest. It's like knowing your car keys are in your pocket.
Exactly.
You aren't throwing a parade because your keys are in your pocket. You just have a quiet, absolute certainty that they are there. You don't even have to check.
And that absolute certainty is the wish fulfilled. And the phrasing you use internally dictates whether you reach that state. Goddard emphasizes that you must embody the state of I am.
Okay.
If you tell yourself, I will be successful, you are actually setting a trap for yourself.
Why? Is it because saying I will be implies that right now I am not?
Exactly. And this requires understanding the mechanism of subconscious time.
Which is fascinating.
It really is. The conscious mind can project into the future or dwell on the past, but the subconscious mind only exists in the eternal present. It only knows right now.
So it takes things literally in the moment.
Yes. So when you feel the sentiment of, I will be wealthy tomorrow, the subconscious mind processes your current underlying feeling, which is the feeling of waiting.
Oh, wow.
It takes the feeling of lack in the present moment and perfectly replicates a continuous reality where you are always waiting for wealth, but it never arrives.
That makes so much sense. It's like the subconscious is basically functioning like a modern social media algorithm.
Oh, I like that.
Right. An algorithm doesn't care if a video makes you genuinely happy or if it makes you furiously angry. It doesn't judge the moral value of the content at all.
Nope.
It just measures your engagement, your intensity, and your dwell time, and then it feeds you more of that exact same experience.
That is a brilliant modern equivalent. The algorithm, your subconscious, just observe what state you are lingering in and serves you more of that state to keep you engaged in that reality.
Okay, so if the internal feeling is the master blueprint, what happens to all the physical actions we take? We are so deeply conditioned by hustle culture to believe that grinding, sacrificing sleep and aggressively forcing outcomes is the only way to succeed.
Goddard's response to that is going to frustrate a lot of people who tie their self-worth to their productivity.
I bet.
He argues that imagination completely supersedes physical action. If your subconscious mind accepts a concept as fact because you felt it deeply enough,
Right.
it will orchestrate the physical circumstances to make it happen, regardless of your conscious effort.
The sources quote a specific rule of his that feels almost offensive to the modern work ethic. He says, effort is fatal.
Effort is fatal. It sounds completely counterintuitive. Why would effort ruin the manifestation?
Because if we go back to the mirror analogy, intense willpower implies an intense lack.
Right.
If I am grinding away with sheer willpower to force a promotion, my internal state is basically screaming, I really, really need this because I do not have it, and I am terrified I won't get it.
Yes.
My intellectual desire wants the promotion, but my core feeling is fear and inadequacy. And Goddard states that when feeling and desire are in conflict, feeling wins every single time.
Feeling always wins, because feeling is the primal evolutionary language of the subconscious. Logic and rational desire are very recent evolutionary add-ons residing in the conscious mind.
They're new software.
Exactly. The engine room doesn't care about your intellectual goals. It only responds to the emotional intensity of your conviction.
Oh.
This is why manifesting requires a level of stoic detachment from your current circumstances.
You literally have to turn your back on the 3D mirror. You have to ignore the fact that the bank account is empty or that the relationship is struggling.
Yeah. You must disregard what your physical senses are aggressively reporting to you if it contradicts the state you wish to embody.
But practically speaking, how on earth do you do that? I mean, when I am awake, walking around my house, interacting with my boss, my conscious mind is on high alert. The captain is staring right at the storm, gripping the steering wheel, and the logic filter is incredibly thick.
Yeah, the defense mechanisms are up.
Right. So how do we sneak past that highly skeptical, highly defensive conscious mind?
This brings us to the most practical, actionable part of Goddard's philosophy. We have to enter what we could call the twilight zone. Goddard refers to it as the state akin to sleep.
Which practitioners commonly abbreviate as SATS.
That's it, exactly. He argues that the process of falling asleep is the natural, built-in door to the subconscious.
We spend a third of our lives doing it, yet we completely ignore its utility.
Think about the biological mechanism of falling asleep. As you enter that drowsy, hypnagogic state, that heavy, floating sensation right before you cross the threshold into actual sleep, your brainwaves slow down. The conscious mind's desperate grip on reality loosens. The highly critical logic filter that constantly yells, "This isn't realistic," it simply powers down.
The captain finally steps away from the wheel and goes to bed.
Yes. And for that brief, hazy window, the architect of your desires gets to walk straight down into the engine room and hand the blueprints directly to the master builder without the waking mind interfering and pointing out all the reasons it shouldn't work.
There is a beautiful concept in the original text that compares this specific window of time to reading a movie script.
Oh, yes.
By actively assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled as you drift off, you are literally casting yourself in a star role. You are handing the finalized script to the director, and that script will be performed on the physical stage of Earth the very next day.
But Goddard includes a very profound warning with that analogy.
He does.
If you do not consciously choose the script during this window, the subconscious doesn't just stop building. Instead, it sweeps up the composite anxieties, frustrations, micro-stresses, and fears of your waking day.
All the garbage.
All the garbage. It uses them as the default script and dooms you to repeat the exact same emotional day tomorrow.
You're just handing the engine room a blueprint of your exhausted stress and basically saying, here, build more of this.
Exactly.
So we need to completely rethink how we go to sleep. Let's walk through what this actual night routine looks like, not as a sterile checklist, but as an experience.
Yeah.
Imagine you are laying in bed tonight.
Right. So the first thing you have to do is entirely bypass your physical reality. You lie flat, ideally on your back, and you get so profoundly comfortable that your physical body almost fades from your awareness.
Because if you're hyper aware of the blankets or, the ache in your shoulder, your brain is still locked into the 3D physical world.
Right, you need to float.
And once you're in that floaty, detached state, you have to bypass the how. You do not lay there strategizing about how you're going to get the money or how the relationship will be fixed.
The how is the domain of the conscious mind, and the conscious mind is currently logging off. Instead, you focus entirely on the ultimate destination. You ask yourself a very specific internal question. How would I feel right in this very second if my desire were already a physical fact?
You aren't asking how you'll feel next week. You are collapsing time. You are asking for the feeling right now.
You wait in the darkness for that feeling to genuinely arise. And as we discussed, it won't be a frantic, heart-pounding excitement.
No.
As you lie there, you will begin to feel a deep sigh of relief, a physical unclenching, the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. It is the deep, peaceful knowing that the search is over.
And as that feeling washes over you, you don't jolt yourself awake trying to hold on to it. You let the natural drowsiness of the night carry that specific feeling of relief down into sleep.
Yeah, you just drift.
You literally fall asleep marinated in the conviction that it is already done. And while you sleep for the next 8 hours, that impersonal engine room is working relentlessly to alter the physical world to match the feeling you just handed it.
It is an incredibly simple concept, yet it requires an immense amount of mental discipline. But when you pull all these mechanisms together, the philosophical implications of Goddard's work are staggering.
They really are.
He is suggesting that your innermost being is the literal source of all physical phenomena.
Which means the waking 2/3 of your life, the part you consider your real objective life, is merely you walking through the delayed physical echoes of the mental seeds you planted while you were asleep.
You are quite literally just bearing witness to your own crystallized assumptions. The world is not happening to you. It is being projected by you.
It is entirely a projection, and this isn't just a fun thought experiment for us to chew on and then forget about. This is a highly practical, available tool.
Absolutely.
Tonight, when your head hits the pillow, you have the absolute power to step into the role of the gardener. You can choose to stop painting the mirror, bypass the panicked captain, and consciously hand a new blueprint to the engine room.
You have the leverage to fundamentally change the reflection in your physical world by changing the source first.
But as we wrap up this deep dive, the sheer scale of Goddard's premise leaves you with something incredibly wild to think about.
Oh, this is the deep end.
It really is. If your waking life is truly nothing more than a projection of your own internal subconscious, well, actually, scratch that. If your waking life is just a projection, then what about everyone else?
Right.
The random stranger who cut you off in traffic today, the friend who surprised you with coffee, the boss who holds your career in their hands. Are they actually separate entities acting independently of you? Or are you, on some deep, unrecognized subconscious level, literally playing all the parts in the play yourself?